Greetings, everyone. Welcome to this class. We are Friday, the something of some kind of month. It's a pleasure to have you again. Fresh out of the shower, coffee in hand. The attitude for today is electricity. Yeah, not simplicity, not peace. I mean, let's not be complicated, but we're not going to focus on an attitude, a feeling. We're going to focus on electricity. While everyone connects, while the translators get ready, just think about electricity. When you focus on the concept of electricity, your mind would get carried away in everything scientific that you've learned on the topic. Of course, electricity is not a contemplation we would have done 100 years ago or 500 years ago. But now we have it. So let's use that. Try to stay simple. So there's electricity in your body, bioelectricity if you want, energy signals in the body. There's electricity in devices, wires all around the world now. Mostly on land, not really in the oceans, but there is. Focusing on electricity. Of course, it's easier when we start with our own body. Hey guys. Electricity was always there. It had different names before. Spirits in nature, the dragon, maybe. Good. In your nervous system and your brain, electricity, energy charge, if you want, is a very important function. Well, a very important component. Accept electricity. Be in harmony with electricity. there will be personal growth just a bit later in this class. First, we take time to feel it, whatever the feeling of electricity. When I ask you to feel electricity, maybe your mind imagines like a shock. No, not like a shock. If your body always had electricity and you were never in a state of shock, feeling electricity is not feeling shocks. That is just an exception when you have way too much, because as a kid you're playing with the electric outlet with a knife or something like that, or something like this. Feeling electricity should not be felt like a shock. You should not imagine that. Just embrace electricity in your body. It always was there. Okay. How important its role. The body functions. Everything works because of electricity in the body. Electricity carries information. Okay. Electricity is a manifestation of Saraswati, if you want. If Brahma is the concept of everything created or manifested, Saraswati is how creation works, as information is transferred everywhere. Okay. So, for those who know the divinity, Saraswati is in charge of electricity. Indra, the lower god, would be the channels, or its flow, its function. Thank you, Raven. Saraswati is the electricity, the information carrier. So we're going to take a moment to contemplate the bija of electricity, which is Aim. A-I-M. Aim. Okay? In your human mind, because of your science training, which is a good training, you see electricity as power, as shocks, destruction, lightning from the sky. So don't fall in the trap of seeing electricity only in its manifestations when there is too much. Electricity is the flow of information. Okay. The bija is Aim. Okay. Now, don't get caught in this English trap. AIM is not aim, unless you're trying to aim at someone. No. So the I, you could put double dots on them, or Aim. That's the sound that we're looking for. Okay. Aim, the flow of information. So now energy has to do with flow of information. So it connects with intelligence and wisdom. Electricity is how everything communicates. When it becomes light in a lamp, it allows us to see. And then seeing is gaining information. The bija is Aim. That means, when I say that, it means you repeat Aim every few seconds in your brain, in your mind. Aim. Aim. It's a bija mantra to syntonize the feeling of Saraswati, the goddess of information. Your focus is electricity in your body mostly. The flow of information in your body and in the entire universe. Let's start with our body. It helps. When the wise ones were teaching Aim as information, the normal human ego interpreted that as, I'm gonna be smart. Yeah, at one point that's what happens. Yeah, it helps you becoming smart and creative a bit. Mostly intelligent. But that's just a side effect. Aim first brings the flow of information in nature. So before you can have a human gain about it, contemplate how nature already is intelligent, how information already flows in nature, okay, in your brain and in the world. Okay, Bija is Aim. When you get too much information, it disturbs you. If there's too much information, the same way that when there's too much electricity, you get a shock. Aim will bring this harmony in the flow of information and electricity, so that information is accepted when it comes and probably flows at a good rhythm or intensity. Good. All right. Now for the personal growth part. If we take a deep breath, relax. How am I going to approach this? I have the information in my mind, but to word it, accepting information allows the mechanics of information to persist. All right. for your brain to stay healthy. Let's take that approach. You want your brain to stay healthy as long as possible, of course. Life will happen and decay happens. For the brain to stay functional as long as possible, or even to regenerate, accepting it's imperative to accept the functions of the brain. Brain is about information. It's about Saraswati. It's about the Bija Aim. Okay, the brain and the nervous system is about information. So it uses electricity as a means, as a tool. But the purpose is the information. The goal of the builder is not a hammer and a chainsaw and stuff like that. The goal of a builder is the house, the final result, the furniture. Okay, so electricity is a tool. Information is the goal. The three denials of pride, shame, and fear, although essential to our survival while we are in survival mode, they compact emotions in potentials. And these potentials is information that is stuck. And we have these potentials on every plane. There are good potentials, but there's also arrogant potentials. Okay, negative ones. And it's the negative ones that we're talking about here. The regrets we have about the past, what we have not forgiven, when we don't accept how nature is. It's a frustration against information. It's a reaction towards information. I'll take myself as an example again. I spoke a few classes ago of things I regret from the past. I even told the stories. I was drunk in public and I was disturbing others. I was young, and everyone has good moments and bad moments. What I regretted was not being loved. Nature in me just wanted to be a monkey and throw shit at others for fun. You know? But because of that, I was not loved. So I don't regret just being a natural entity, getting drunk and shouting in public too loud, being insulting and everything. That was nature. It's a jungle. But I made an association to some people stop loving me or caring for me. So, okay, I had a behavior that caused me to lose the interest and the favors of others. That is where the regret was born. It's not about the action, it's about the consequence, of course. And the lack of forgiveness of this, I was trying to forgive my behavior, and my regret would still come back over and over again. So I have done the forgiveness part of being a natural entity and doing crazy shit in public. I learned from that, and I try to behave. But not only out of compassion for others, no. Out of that regret, I don't want to lose more love. Okay? So I'm learning to make it an event of compassion rather than a reaction to abandonment or rejection. Rejection in this case. So the solution was not only to forgive, but to mourn what was lost. To mourn that love that was lost. It's too late. It was love from outside, and I was hoping to have love from outside. And at one point, love from outside goes away. It's nature. It just flows like that. I was trying to forgive myself, and I was stuck in this pattern of thinking I still hated myself. But there was another part to that integration. It was to mourn what was lost. Okay. Now that regret could flow, and now I'm kind of sometimes talking to myself, don't go crazy, don't do crazy shit with people, don't talk about your feelings to people who are not talkative about their feelings. Something I still do. Talk about feelings openly in a crowd of people. Like, did you just talk about feelings? Oh fuck, don't talk to this guy, he's a touchy one, you know. I also gave a class about lately. I don't know, lately can be any time in the last 6 months. Maybe a month or two ago. We have to decide, I'm going to stop regretting. It doesn't mean to deny the regrets I still have. I still have to integrate that. If I have any, of course. I do. Just saying. I have to forgive myself. Mourn what was lost. For that dynamic to happen. Make a choice not to be stuck in the regretting pattern. Because that's 3 things. Forgive the behavior that I had. Mourn what I lost through process. And decide not to stay stuck in the negative view of myself. So, I love myself just as I am. You know, practicing. I have to stop the habit of hating myself. It's a habit. And that's how I manage not being stuck in the past. Okay. Forgiveness of the behavior, mourn what was lost, and dedicate myself to compassion now, and love myself and others as we are. And for good behavior, expedient means to decide to respect others in their evolution and in their style of communication. Respect others in their environment. That's, you know, what you learn when you grow. As we age, the brain has functions that are slower or decay. In order to preserve the functions of the nervous system, to preserve the health of the brain, it is important to accept information. And that means to embrace what we've done, because the regrets is what is stuck inside us. It's the blockage. Okay. So accepting information is to accept, to perceive ourself. And that means all the little dark corners. That is accepting information. It's the information that we kept stuck in the brain and the nervous system. We will work on feeling that information, forgive it, forgive our behavior, mourn what was lost, and decide to love ourselves. Decide to be a good person. Decide to practice Rishinaya. This dedication to being positive, that is the virtue of strength. Strength, as a virtue, is a determination to evolve. Okay. It is the influence of Phaleg and Kamayel. Okay. To believe in the process of evolution, to trust evolution, to take that decision to be positive about ourselves, to know there were consequences to our actions in the past. Yeah. To accept it. We all have a life. Things we're proud of and things we're not proud of. In order to keep the brain healthy, information must be embraced. If we remember the information about our behavior, our traumas, the past experiences, and what we do is hate ourselves or hate others for what they have done, the consequences will be negative energy in our brain and our nervous system. I will give a completely different example of this. Let's say you're driving and you have a panic attack. Okay. There is information flowing in your mind and in your body. And the panic attack is the result of a refusal of the information. You should not do an integration in your car while driving. Let's say you wake up at night with a panic attack. That means that you have a habit of refusing information. So that during the night, information came, it was too much because of the resistance. You went into shock. Okay? Electricity flows, there's a resistance, it doesn't go through. a condenser, it would build up. Okay. And then give a shot, empty everything. So if you have a conversation with someone, finish a conversation, and have a panic attack, panic attacks, what they mean, regardless of the context where they happen, it means you have built a habit of lying to yourself, of denying information. And it's a habit. You do it subconsciously. It means that you invent more information. If you have panic attacks, it means that instead of the actual information that comes, you invent other scenarios to justify what you perceive. Because you're trying to deny the actual information. That's the result of ignorance, of course. I've seen this in so many people that I figured I would talk about it today. Not because a lot of people have panic attacks, but because those who do have panic attacks seem to have no way of resolving it. Okay? And I don't know, 12, 15 years ago, Sandra Giroir was asking me about it. And lately, I mean, she has maybe once a year instead of every day. But it still happens. So, let's talk about it. When we grow into a habit of refusing information, of course, there's a reason why we would refuse information. It's because it's too much. It's just too much. Like, this is too much to digest, especially when we are young. So we block it. But then we build an habit to just deny information. So in specific moments, this resistance, yes, exactly, to survive when we are children, we build that habit. Teenagers and children, we're not philosophically equipped to deal with life trials, so we can build that habit. Of course, that's how it starts, usually. In the adult ages, when we are tortured, or when there's too many events. Okay. So it happens. It's not wrong for us to do that, but it happens. So we have to take that decision. I will face the information. Okay. And we go back to this little pyramid, this little trio of forgiving ourselves and others. Mourn what was lost. And decide to accept information. To accept the truth. This combination of patterns is essential to keep the brain healthy. Okay? So, it's not just in panic attacks. But panic attacks is a symptoms that some people have. Those of you who don't have panic attacks, you still do it, okay? But it's not panic. So it's called temper tantrum or a drama crisis. So the same mechanics of overreacting. For most of you, it's not panic attacks because it's not that strong. But we have these moments of overreaction, going into terrible drama, and losing awareness of personal growth, losing our toolbox of personal growth for a moment, losing the Rishinaya. Okay? That's because we have a habit of just denying information, of refusing information, the facts of life and nature. The tools are exactly what they are. Forgive yourself and others. It's a jungle. People do evil things sometimes. Remember, with forgiveness, justice should also be applied. But often it's too late. It's been so many years, it's too late. Sometimes it's too late. Forgiveness of yourself and others. Mourn what was lost. The love. Just mourn it. Lose it. And decide to embrace the facts. To accept information. Make that decision. Be dedicated to honesty and integrity with yourself. The bija is Aim, if you want to do a practice. The bija Aim, a mantra you repeat. Slowly but surely, it will go like a medicine in your subconscious mind. And it will disengage those patterns of denial. Because it will help you accept the information. Meditating on Aim will help you stop this resistance to the truth of your life story. It will go and undo the traumas of teenagers and childhood when you had no other solution than to deny. It will open Pandora's box. These emotions will flow back into you. You will forgive. You will mourn. And you'll embrace the information. It's important to be responsible. Sometimes what people did to us in the past was simply the lack of their own self-love. Sometimes it was our own behavior that caused us to be rejected. Embrace the truth. Forgive. mourn, and embrace the truth. The responsibility of others and yours, just dedicate yourself to that path. With that practice, whenever information comes, and it's a lot, when you get a bad news, when someone dies or your lover goes away, something important, the information will come as a rush. The more you embrace that information going through you and feel it, the less panic will be, the less drama will be. You'll simply process it. Embrace the truth. Just embrace the truth. And that is how, with practice, it will go into your body. It will help if you do it incarnate also, and teach your body consciously, for the body to accept the information. One last parenthesis on this, one last comment on this. If you have self-hatred inside you, there is then in the subconscious mind negative thoughts. Thoughts about hurting yourself and thoughts of suicide. Mostly just about hurting yourself. Okay. Where there is self-hatred, there is this idea of, I could just crash my car now, or I could just, do something stupid and hurt myself. Just out of pure hatred, simple hatred. That's a side effect of not wanting to embrace information. Okay? So if I take, for example, a panic attack while driving, that could be your subconscious taking a risk to hurt yourself because of self-hatred. Okay. When you are in a drama, let's say you overreact. I'm taking examples from like 17 people who talk about the topic lately to me, so everyone can apply it to themselves. If you're super dramatic and send people to hell, get drunk and write shit on Messenger to people, if you do this, there is that hatred inside you that will just do worst things to hurt yourself and others. Okay, so it's not just panic attacks. It could be violent reactions, physically, or with words, or with choices. And then there's a battle inside you, hurting yourself because of the hatred, and the part that loves yourself, hey, stay focused, don't hurt yourself. And there's a battle, little demon, little angel. Okay. Those of you who made harsh decisions because you were frustrated, it's the same thing. It all comes back to that. Practice. You have built those denial systems over decades. It might take a few months of practice as a process, daily, or sporadically, as you wish. If you get panic attacks, do it daily, of course, for, a month or something. I'm the contemplation of electricity in your body, of information in your mind and your body, how information flows. Accept energy in nature. Accept information. And that means stories. And that means events that happen to you and others. Accept the events. It happened. So that you will grow into a habit of accepting information rather than denying it. A nice side effect is the preservation of your brain functions through old ages as you persist in time. Okay. Forgiveness, mourning, and the virtue of strength. All right, face it. Oh, and yeah, Ganesh faces everything. Just happened to have that t-shirt today. I love you all. I wish you a good day, good life, and Merry Christmas. Is it that month? No, it's what's the next one? Happy Halloween? Whatever. Peace.